Geekazine and Geek Smack is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the show we call the Geekish of Smacks, the Geek Smack, where we give you the news unabridged with a little bit of hip-hop involved. I don't know. Today we're talking about Apple and Siri and the Big Apple announcement, and of course a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to smack the geek out of Stormtrooper cake, and we're going to do it all right now. But first of all, we're brought to you by our friends over at Roku. Stop dreaming, start streaming. You can get yourself a Roku starting at about $49. Of course, Stitcher.com. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek, and you could win yourself $100. We've got Telestream and Wirecast. Of course, you can get yourself a way to create video like I do for a great price by going over to geekazine.com/WirecastPC or Wirecast Mac, depending on your system. And then, of course, LOL Shirts. You can get yourself some really cool t-shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get your show started for today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. I'm drinking tea. I'm having a little bit of fun with the tea. I enjoy the tea. It's tasty. It's tea-like. Anyway, how you doing? My name is Jeffrey Powers. Welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek like IBM smacking out of quantum computing with breakthroughs left, right, up, down, and all around. And that's over at www.geekazine.com. You can go there and check out all the shows. Of course, iPad 365, an iPad app a day to keep your iPad in play. And Day in Tech History over at www.dayintechhistory.com. Technology history daily, so it's all audio. There's no video version, so you can run down. It's one of the longest running podcasts out there. Daily podcast. It's only one of a couple that do a 365 this year 366 day podcast. So check that out over at dayintechhistory.com. All right, well, last week I took the week off and I think I needed it. A lot of stuff, a lot of CES stuff that I got done, so I'm really happy about where I am. I'm still about 70 videos out from finishing. By the end of this week, if whatever I haven't finished up, I'm done with. So I'm just going to update over at tpn.tv, and then we'll be done with CES. I've got a lot of other videos that have been sitting on the back burner because of all this CES video, and it's just been a very, very stressful 2 months. And if you've been following me, you understand what's been going on. I basically work for myself, and I go out there and I get a lot of video and I do a lot of stuff for a lot of clients. Some of them that kind of say that they'll pay me, and others that kind of say, well, this is just a blogger role, so we can't really pay you. And I still do it because I can put a sponsor to it. Well, things have been changing up left and right. And even though the CES stuff won't come in for a couple months. That's the bottom line there. So basically, I've been doing this for the last 4 years. I've basically been managing my money for up until the first CES check comes, and then everything becomes hunky and dory. Last year wasn't so rosy of a CES for us, so I actually had to pull money out of a different savings account. But this year I don't have that savings account to pull from, so this, that, and the other thing, up, down, where is, and what twos have happened, and I've literally got almost nothing in my account. If it wasn't for a couple Amazon payments that I got, I would literally be like $500 in the hole in my bank account, and credit card at the point where I can't make any payments, and yada yada. So, and I'm telling you this because I want to let you know where things are with Geekazine. iPad 365 show is really just starting to kick in, and a lot of people are watching, and I really appreciate it. Sponsors are starting to talk about being part of the show. But anything like that is usually a 3 month out type process, which means I won't see anything out of it for another 3 months. Another thing that's happening is I might be doing some video stuff for a popular company that I've been working closely with in the next couple months, and I'll be talking about that in the future. But that doesn't come until a month or two down the road. Finally, and I don't know if I can announce this news, but screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to announce it. I have been talking to the folks over at Blog World and New Media Expo, and I am going to be going to Blog World, New York, and I have officially taken a role with Blog World as the podcast, how do we call it? The podcast editor in chief. Which basically what that means is we're going to be doing a weekly show for Blog World where I'm going to be interviewing people that are coming to Blog World, speakers, people that are just attending, and we're going to be doing a weekly show where we're going to talk to a couple people, maybe have some fun little skits in between. But the bottom line is this. We're going to do this every single week until Blog World, and then we're going to have a fun little thing over at Blog World too. So, and of course, I'll be doing it for Blog World New York. I'll be doing it for Blog World LA. Now, I talked with Rick Calvert from Blog World, and we made the arrangements 2 weeks ago, but we haven't finalized everything. So, hopefully, I'm not shooting the horse already. But I will tell you that it will be a lot of fun. I've worked with Blog World before as the digital editor on there. So, but the bottom line is, that's going to be a lot of work, and then any type of compensation happens at the end of the whole thing. So, the whole point is this has been a very, very traumatic 2 weeks waiting for things to come through, and of course my health is still not at where I want it to be. And I went back to the doctor to find out if there's anything else I can do. Basically, what happened was I have high triglycerides. And with the high blood pressure, the high triglycerides are just making me really, really crappy lately. And I am just trying to get by on a day-by-day basis. Been taking a lot of fish oil, a lot of flaxseed oil now, just to kind of lower the triglycerides in my system so I can get to a state of normalcy. I don't think I'm going to fall over anytime soon, but there are times where I just got to stop. I just got to stop and take some time off. This Sunday was the first time I took almost 48 hours off. I did very bare minimal that I needed to do, and then I didn't stay on the computer. I just relaxed. I went to see like 3 movies with a friend, and she's been a really supportive person, so I thank her very much. And it's been a wild ride. I'm going to tell you that. And right now, like I said, until things start coming through, I might just be laying low again and doing what I need to do. iPad 365 needs to come out. I'm going to do that. Day in Tech History needs to go out. I need to do that. Geekazine Weekly Podcast needs to go out. I'm sorry, Geek Smack needs to go out. I'm going to do that. So, and of course, there's some trips. Yes, there is talk about South by Southwest. It is forming. And we'll see what happens there. But if I do go to South by Southwest, I'm going there for only a couple days, and then I will be going to Portland, Oregon for a Ford event following. So it's going to be quick trips, but it will finally get me to South by Southwest, which is a goal of mine. It's been a goal for the last 3 years. Now, speaking of trips, went with the Social Media Club. Wendy, Susie, and myself went down to Milwaukee to the Milwaukee Auto Car Show for Ford because they invited Social Media Club Milwaukee to the auto show, and of course they asked us to come down and be a part of that. So we went down there, checked out a couple concept cars, which I'll have videos for coming up. And then finally, one really cool thing is a couple weeks ago I was part of a Coke hangout. They went down to the archives, and we got to see all this cool Coke memorabilia. And they said at the end of it, well, we're going to send you some stuff. And I figured it was just some silly little metal signs that I could put on my wall and stuff like that. But what turned out to be was some pretty impressive prints. And I got about 6 or 7 of these prints. This is one of them. And they're not really Coke advertisements, then they are just posters. And this is This is art. This I'm actually these are all 417 of 1,000. So I know they're in limited supplies. This is "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia" by Norman Rockwell. So these are special prints that they sent out to us. So I appreciate it very, very much to Coke. We got about 5 or 6 of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. They don't fit here. And of course, whoops, the iPad show. They don't fit in the iPad show either. So well, that can stay like that. So, but bottom line is, thank you very much to Coke for that. And I knew I was going to do this. I said, I'll just set this here and it should work because it's been sitting like that before. There we go. Okay. Enough of that. I spent a little bit extra time. I apologize on that. But I just want to let you know what's going on with Geekazine in the next couple weeks. Things are going to get really, really tight and really, really tough. So hopefully finalizing the truck and the problems I've had almost 3 months with the truck and the electrical problems with that. Hopefully they're reprogramming a new computer brain inside the truck, so hopefully I'll have my vehicle back within the week. So no more bouncing from vehicle to vehicle, which has been also pretty stressful there. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get into your tech news.
Tech smack.
All right, we're starting over on PC Magazine. Yahoo is threatening Facebook with legal action over about 10 to 20 patent licenses. They're not suing them yet. They're threatening them to sue them. And basically, they're saying it's all about personalization of websites. And so I think this is that Yahoo is looking into seeing if they can sue Facebook and maybe kind of threatening Facebook, hey, you've got these patents that you need to worry about, so why don't you just give us money anyway? Keep it out of the courts. And maybe Facebook will reply on that, but it is what it is. Now I'm asking myself, in the last 3 years when Yahoo has been down and out and trying to figure out what they're going to do, why didn't they sit there and figure out, hey, Facebook's impeding on some of our patents already? I don't know. Maybe they had licensing patents with Facebook and those ran out or something like that. It really doesn't explain the whole thing here, but there is some good information here over on PCMag.com, so check it out. IBM's talking about quantum computing and how they've made some great breakthroughs. This is over at tgdaily.com. They're using a variety of newer techniques. IBM basically set new records for reducing errors in elementary computations and doing that while retaining the integrity of the quantum mechanical properties in quantum bits, or what's called qubits. IBM scientists have been saying that they're going to take Big Blue and they're going to take these qubits, what they're calling supercomputing qubits, and work them into the millions of computations on that machine. What that means is if they can get Big Blue finer tuned, then they can then take that technology and put it into your processors, your Intel processors, your quad-core processors, and make that even better. And server processors and so on and so forth. So, and of course that could be Intel, that could be AMD. This is IBM we're talking about. They're gonna most likely take this to their systems first. So you'll see some really fast servers, but then eventually it'll start to leak down and the technologies will start to incorporate into processors, which is pretty cool, I think. And we'll have a lot of fun with this. So if you want to read more on that, go over to the tgdaily.com. All right, Mozilla is dropping Android from the Mobile Web Project. They talked about it at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Mozilla announced that they were going to use it building this B2G mobile device, what they're calling the B2G project, which I think was business to group or something like that. They said they expected to use parts of Android in their platform, but then they found that they didn't need those parts. Everything could be done through Linux, so they decided, well, we're just going to leave Android out of it. So they're going to be, I don't know if this is going to be a viable system to anything else out there, but we might see Mozilla come out on the mobile platform very, very soon. So they're working on that. So if you want to check that out, go over to computerworld.com. From there, we're going over to Engadget, Apple, iPad. It's not a rumor anymore, so I don't know. Should I run the little rumor a bit? Anyway, let's talk about it. Basically, Apple iPad event has been confirmed for March 7th in San Francisco. Although I just read it's not San Francisco, it's confirmed in New York. So I'm not sure. Well, I guess it is. This one says maybe they changed it. They did say New York, and I did read New York somewhere. But there's a March 7th, I guess. So San Francisco is where it's going to be. It's going to be at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts Theater in San Francisco. I really think that they should have done it. I thought it would have been a great move to actually do it in New York rather than San Francisco, simply because of the fact of what media is out in San Francisco as opposed to what media is out in New York. And I think that would have been a better choice, would have been to go to New York over San Francisco, especially since everything of Apple has happened in San Francisco. It'd be kind of nice to have that change. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that they should hold it in New York or they should hold it in San Francisco? It would be a great change. But of course, they're going to be talking about different devices. One thing that's been rumored that they're going to talk about is, of course, the iPad 3. But they're also going to probably talk about getting made in America. And I think that's because of what happened in the last few weeks with Obama and the speech, his State of the Union address, and really put Apple in the forefront. And Obama saying we're not going to take companies that take their business overseas. So I have a feeling there's going to be some sort of announcement with that. We'll see what happens. But like I said, at first, and maybe this wasn't the article I read, but at first I was reading that it was going to be New York as opposed to San Francisco. So Engadget.com if you want to read more on that. All right, let's go over to ABC News and check out this article right here. There's a company called ProView, and my understanding is ProView kind of had rights to the iPad. They just said iPad before Apple said iPad. So, and then ProView Electronics was approached by Apple, and Apple said, "Hey, we want all rights and everything for the term iPad," and they worked out a deal with them. Well, now they're saying that ProView was misled in this whole process, and so now what they want to do is they want to get the trademarks back. They want to regain all the worldwide rights to the iPad name, which of course would make iPad in default, which then Apple would have to pay something to ProView. So they're basically they're looking to get a payday out of this after they said, "Hey, Apple, you can have it." Well, if they bought the snake oil, then they're going to have to drink the snake oil, because Apple has made a name out of iPad, and you just can't take it back and try and continue to make a name. What are they going to do? Are they going to make a tablet too? I don't understand this, but if you want to read more on this, this is over at abcgo.com. All right, let's go over to Reuters here. Google Plus, there's an article saying, and we've seen these articles before, but there's an article that's saying that Google Plus is lagging behind Facebook and Twitter and MySpace even in study. And but this actually came out from ComScore, which gives it a little bit more grit to it. And basically what they're saying is Google Plus had users spend about 5.1 minutes on Google Plus for the last 6 months. Well, in January, they only spent 3.3 minutes on Google Plus for the month, which was a big decline, whereas Facebook and Twitter and MySpace even still had around a 5.1 minute mark, I believe, on theirs. So December showed 4.8, January showed 3.3. I don't know what February is going to show. I'm going to tell you something. If that's the case, then either we're reading the news faster, or we're just getting on the site to spend a couple minutes on the site and move from there. I would figure I would like to see how many people that actually participate in the Google Hangouts stay on Google Plus, take out the rest of the people, and go from there. I always said, and I'll still say it again, until Google Plus makes brand pages, an API where I can actually start sending stuff automatically to the brand page, it's really not much of use for me. I get more interaction through my main page and pointing to Geekazine. In fact, I've let the numbers have grown on Geekazine by doing that, but I won't do it. I won't do it the other way until there's an API involved and I can actually do some sort of automatic posting to there. So anyway, Reuters.com to read that full article. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Let's get a definition here. The name of the company is called Huawei. Huawei, and you can do the whole Stewie impersonation. Hey Brian, what's with Huawei? What do you mean Huawei? No, Huawei. No, Huawei. 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 The Hawaii way. I don't know. However you want to say it. The company is Huawei. I met him 2 years ago at 4G World. That was the first time that I ever saw him and talked about him. But they're getting into them. They're really getting up. Into the mobile world. And they're releasing a quad-core smartphone with their own processor, which means that they're going to get very serious in the mobile market in the next 6 months to a year. So you might actually have a Huawei phone. And so learning how to pronounce Huawei is very important, I would guess. So anyway, you can check it out. It's called the Quad XL. They're using the Ascendi Quad and the Ascendi Quad XL processors. They both have Android 4.0, come with a 5-inch high-resolution screen and 8-megapixel camera. So they're going to have some beef to them too. So you can check that out. This article is over at PCWorld.com for more information. Verizon's talking about selling their Galaxy Tab 7.7 on Thursday, $500 price point. The Galaxy Tab has the Android 3.2 system, so it's not even ice cream sandwich. It's got a 1.4 gigahertz dual-core processor and 7.7-inch AMOLED display at 1280 by 800. It's got a 3.2 megapixel rear-facing camera and 2 megapixel front-facing camera, and like I said, it's going to be running off of LTE software. So you're going to get a 4G solution for a tablet for $500. I don't know. It just, even with the Verizon, because you're going to have a Verizon contract with it, and you still got to pay $500 for it. I would figure it'd be $300 with a contract. You think about it, the contract's going to be about $25 a month at least. So you're going to spend yourself a lot of money in the next 2 years with a contract with Verizon just to get this tablet. Now, if the tablet's like $800 without a contract, then there's something definitely wrong with this, because I don't see this being a contender, especially if the rumors are true and the iPad 3 has a quad-core processor in it. I think Galaxy Tab is not doing the right thing. They're thinking the wrong way. And I don't know. You make the decision. Go over to computerworld.com and check that out. All right, we're going to go over to Information Week. Dell says that we're not a PC company anymore, and the reason why they're saying that is because they've been really working in the server area, getting appliances, rack mount virtualizations. Did you know that the Red Boxes, if you go to a Redbox kiosk, that's all run by Dell hardware? And we went about a year and a half ago, I went to Dell and we talked about that. And we talked about third-party solutions. So they've been really working on getting into third-party solutions rather than getting in desktop machines for the regular consumers. So it's not really like an HP approach or an IBM approach where IBM went all servers and then sold off their PC market. HP almost did that and then reeled back and go from there. So, but anyway, Michael Dell said in San Francisco's Financials Merchants Exchange building, said that we're really not a PC company anymore. We're an end-to-end IT solution company. Of course, Michael Dell makes some pretty bold statements at some times, and sometimes they blow up back in his face, or sometimes it's actually true. In this case, I think there's a lot of truth to it. So if you wanted to read more on this, go over to informationweek.com. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is the tech side. We're going to be back with a little bit from the geek side, and we'll be back right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to stop dreaming and start streaming. Roku is here, and you can get yourself a Roku streaming system for as little as, well, it says $59.99, but they have the $49.99 model, and I know that, so I'm not exactly sure why they have that. That might be an old ad on there. But ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a Roku too, and I'll tell you right now, Epix right now, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. They're going to have a special event this weekend with Coldplay. So and I've been informed on that, so I'm going to be watching that and talking about that a little bit more. But you can get a 14-day free trial of Epix, so you don't need to get, you can get yourself a 14-day free trial of Netflix, put it onto your Roku. You can get Amazon and watch movies from your Amazon account for prices as little as a couple dollars per TV show or movie. You know, you can watch Sons of Anarchy or Walking Dead or something like that. You've got all these channels. Of course, the Tech Podcast Network is on there. We've got Blueberry on there. You can get Twit on there. You can get Revision 3 on there. Pandora's on there. Hulu's on there. Angry Birds are on there for the $99 model. So you can check it all out by going over to geekazine.com/Roku. Geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, it helps Geekazine and Geek Smack podcasts. So stop dreaming, start streaming. This is your time to get yourself a Roku now.
Geek Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to part 2 of Geekazine Geek Smack. And we're going to burn through this like no tomorrow because we can. And we're going to start over at spectrum.ieee.com. And this is actually pretty cool. We saw Japanese robots at CES. They were all over the place. And now they've got these Japanese robots in American football. And they got this really interesting video here. Let's see if we can play a little bit of this. First of all, I've got to turn off the audio or else this is going to blow out your ears. Now, I'll do that. You might see a little bit of that. The heck's that doing? No, I don't want to make changes. All right, sorry about that. Had a small little glitch on the other computer I had to take care of. So what they're doing is they're taking these robots, and let's get rid of the ad here. There we go. They're playing football with these robots. So it's no different than, the old-fashioned vibration, the vibration tables that you used to have growing up as a kid. So, except they're using robots. So you can check that out. It's over at spectrum.ieee.com. Let's move from there. Let's go over to Geekosystem. Geekosystem is talking about Google and offering a $1 million prize for hackers who crack open Chrome. I'm figuring that they want to find the problems with Chrome. So they're offering people up to $1 million. You might not get $1 million unless you figure out all the cracks, but you'll most likely get a part of that for figuring out, hey, this does this, and this is very, very important because a hacker can get in here in this way. So if you are a hacker, you might want to check that out. Hacker geeks are welcome at this project. You can check this out over at geekosystem.com. Let's go over to Boing Boing. Haven't been there in a while. And let's check this out. This is the Death Star cake. And yes, you can, and I talked about this on Google Plus about a week ago. Somebody made a cake out of the Death Star and a couple of stormtroopers. Of course, we talked about cake 2 weeks ago, too, with the full-size Stormtrooper cake, which was pretty cool. So you can check it out. It was over at Paul Blomdahl's Twitter, as his wife made it for him. So, well, that's, yes, soon-to-be wife, or unless they already got married, then it's wife. Pretty cool stuff. Have you made cakes like that? Let me know. Send me pictures over at geekazine@gmail.com or Twitter me at geekazine with your picture, and we'll put them up on Geeksmack. Any kind of cool cake, unless they're rated X, then I can't put them up there. So you understand that. So, stormtroopers, Lego cakes, stuff like that. That's cool. But yeah, if you decide that you need to do a phallic cake, that's great. But I can't really show it. So, All right, let's move from there. Let's go over to device.com. This is a bike light. Now check this light out, and I'm going to see if you can make that decision. What does this look like to you? If you said a gun, well, yeah, it kind of looks like the barrel, or not the barrel, but looks like the spindle of a revolver. So you have that in the evening strapped to your bike, and how does a cop take that? I don't know. It definitely looks different, but this is meant to be a very safe bike light. It's supposed to be very, very bright, and do a lot more. But I think that they did some things wrong with the designs there. It was created by a couple of people at MIT, so they called it the Defender, and maybe they wanted to have it that way. I don't know. It is part of Gotham Bicycle Defense Industries, so maybe this was on the idea. Anyway, they were given $18,000 to do it, so pretty cool. So check it out over at device.com. All right, next up, you Lego freaks out there, you can get yourself a functioning Lego printer. At first, I thought somebody actually made a MakerBot Lego maker out of Legos, and that would have been super cool. In fact, I put the challenge out there now. If this hasn't been done, it should be done. Somebody make a MakerBot Lego that makes Legos. That would be really cool. But basically, what it's doing is it is printing. It's printing out text, like World of Mindstrom. So you basically go into your computer, and it's not doing color. It's all black and white. Let's zoom in there. They took a couple pictures, and they said, okay, print on there. And then, of course, the printer prints out the picture. Like I said, we're speeding things up a little bit. So that's the original picture, and then, of course, that's the Lego printer. So if you want a little project, and they've got the Lego printer there, you can check that out at magazine.com. All right, we'll pause that. We'll move from there to Engadget.com for all you photo camera people out there. Sony's boosting out the Super Zoom. You can check this out. It is the Super Zoom Collection, DSC HX200V, HX30V, HX20V, 10V, and H90 Cyber Shot cameras. These all have the Carl Zeiss lens in them, and there are a bunch of handheld cameras, and I believe that they are, let's see, I believe that they're just point and shoots. I don't think they got detachable lenses on them or anything like that. They include an 18.2 megapixel CMOS sensor, with the exception of lower shelves, which have a 16.1 megapixel CCD on there. They'll be available in May, starting at $400. So you can check that all out. They got a lot of pictures there. And like I said, yeah, this is just a point and shoot camera. This is not a detachable lens camera. So check that out over at Engadget.com. All right, I had something here. I think I made a small error in my links, so I'll just get rid of that one. Check this out. This is over at ogizmo.com. And what this is what's called the Interactive Super Mario Coin Block Pendant Lamp. I'm going to switch over to this one just to kind of find out what I might have missed here. Basically, it's a pendant lamp that is a lamp that goes above your head, and yeah, I did miss one here. So just need to do this really quick. Anyway, so what happens is the lamp, apparently what you do is you punch the lamp to turn it on, and then you punch the lamp and you can turn it off. No, seriously, you can turn it on and you can turn it off by punching the lamp. It's a 6-inch, it's a 6-inch plexiglass cube lamp with energy efficient LEDs in the Super Mario Brothers coin block, and they even show you the lamp itself. It's just got a basic cord, so you'd hang it from the ceiling, and then you'd have to run the cord to a plug, or either that or hardwire it into your house or something like that. So I don't know if does it even make a coin sound. Yes, you actually get you get a 1-up sound instead. Comes with an 11-foot power cord, and so if you don't want to hardwire it into your system, that'll be really cool there. So that is over there. Now I've got one more article I need to load up here because this is actually pretty cool, and this is back over at Boing Boing. Now you all know the Large Hadron Collider, and you know that quilting is a pretty big thing. So why not mix the two? This is a quilt that's inspired by the Large Hadron Collider, and let's see, the researchers at where is it? Let me find it. There was I thought it said Kate Findlay was the name of the person that made the quilt. She called it Inner Eye, and it's based on Atlas, which is one of the detectors built to encircle the Large Hadron Collider. So that is the Large Hadron Collider quilt. It keeps you warm at night. It keeps you warm. Anyway, if you want to check out more on that, go over to boingboing.net. And that's it for this section. We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk for a minute about, of course, about what's going on over at Apple. And yeah, we'll be right back on Geekazine and Geeksmack. You know, I have some pretty cool shirts. I don't think that this shirt is one of them, so don't look for this shirt on the list. But there's a lot of great shirts over at LOL Shirts. I wear several of those shirts myself. There's this one. There's a fine line between numerator and denominator. I think I got the old version of this shirt in my collection. There's a lot of other cool shirts that you can get yourself. Like, for instance, the Nom Nom shirt that I've got where it's an android eating an apple. And then, of course, That's What Siri Said is the other shirt that I have. And then Slide to Unlock, that's another one. Some other ones, they're getting into other things, like, for instance, St. Patrick's Day fun boxers. So you can get yourself some boxers instead of just shirts. So they're more than shirts, so you can check them all out over at LOL Shirts. You can pick your size. You can pick your shirts. There's a lot of geek shirts out there. A lot of 8-bit stuff and a lot of cool stuff. There's one that says, yeah, I've been outside, but the graphics aren't that great. And, of course, they have an 8-bit flower there. And then, of course, the Apple eating the Android and saying nom. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So you can check it out. Here's all the shirts. And that's over at LOL Shirts, over at lolshirts.com. Go over to geekazine.com/LOL, and that will get you to LOL Shirts. That's geekazine.com/LOL. Of course, check on the page, and you'll see the link to LOL Shirts, and you can click on there and check them out. Shirts only start at $9.99. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today, basically, now we found out that Siri, and I don't know if you've heard this yet, but the Siri, which is, of course, the voice assistant of Apple iPhone 4S, is going to be incorporated into Mercedes-Benz vehicles. You still need an iPhone to use the Siri, but the reason why they did that was because of the response time, I guess. They want it to be a little bit more useful. Because if you've ever hooked up your iPhone to a Bluetooth system in a car, sometimes there's a little bit of latency, and you might not get the full functionality. It might not work as best as if it was just off the phone. So they're doing it to make their full hands-free assist center even easier and better. And it also sets basically a new model for Apple going in market outside of a self-controlled Apple environment, which is really something that they haven't done for years. Back in 1998, in fact, Apple canceled their third-party contracts so they could control the hardware and software environments. Motorola was making a Apple, and a couple other third-party companies were making stuff for Apple. They reeled that all in. They wanted the software. They wanted to control the software and the hardware. It's been like that ever since, with the exception of iTunes, QuickTime, and Safari, which, of course, there are Windows versions. But with Mercedes-Benz getting the Siri software, this starts to ask a new question, and that is, well, is Apple ready to concede the proprietary hardware and software solution? Now, first, let's take a look at Siri and where it could possibly go. You might not see Siri on an Xbox system anytime soon, but why not a PlayStation or a Wii? You know, they're looking for voice control, so why not say, hey, let's put Siri in our back end? And you might need an Apple iPhone at first, but eventually I think it would be better if they just had Siri inside the PlayStation, inside the Wii. What about other vehicles? Maybe like a Ford, maybe like a Chevy, maybe like a Honda. What about in your washing machine? You know, what about in your refrigerator? What if Siri was controlled your house? Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know. We know that basically Apple was turning a new corner when CEO Tim Cook took over things. He didn't do stuff that Steve Jobs would have probably cringed at, the stuff that Tim Cook might start thinking about doing. But we also find that, you know, the Steve Jobs way, while it was good, it built a foundation, but now Apple needs to really start thinking about where they're going to go, how they're going to branch out to get more market share. Because right now, if they actually did some sort of third-party solution, and maybe an iPhone that was made by a third-party company, they might get more market share. We've been seeing that with Android. They make 15 different models from 15 different companies, and now they've got the dominance in the market simply because there's so many models out there. Now, we just found out, I thought, like I said, I read an article that said that they were going to have the event in New York, not San Francisco. But apparently that got changed. Maybe there was a mistake on there. But, you know, if they would move out to New York, they would make a bigger impact. And actually, this would have been a bigger event simply by the fact of location change, because they would have talked about that. So now that means, is Apple starting to change some philosophies? Are they getting away from the Steve Jobs way? If Apple wants to break into out of their walled hardware and software garden and put other software on competing devices, people would start getting used to those environments and possibly even migrate over to Apple and OS 10 Lion or Snowline. Now, I'm not talking about SiStar. We're not making SiStar machines. All I'm talking about is other software. What if GarageBand had a Windows version or a Linux version, for that matter? It's got to be a little bit easier to make a Linux version than it is to make a Windows version. And of course, you know, you still charge money for GarageBand. You still charge money for Final Cut Pro. But what if Apple made an app store for those environments? Little support, but you could still get something like Final Cut Pro, something like GarageBand, something like some Apple apps out there. Maybe app creators would then make a Linux version and a Mac version, making it more useful in those environments. Even an Apple Store in Windows could all of a sudden boost up their revenue simply because of the fact that they're controlling a way to put apps onto your Windows machine. It would definitely change the computer topography almost immediately. And there's so many different possibilities, but you know, then again, this could just be a one-time occurrence, and only because of safety reasons that they put it into Mercedes-Benz. Once again, this could also happen in a Ford. This could also happen in a Chevy, if they get the contracts out there. They could even make an aftermarket version, which you could put in an older car. Could you imagine if that happens? We'll see what happens, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but think about it. Siri goes out of the box, out of the Apple box, and starts being put into an Android phone. How many people would download and use that app? Even if you charge, let's say it's free on an iPhone, but you know, you got to pay a $1 to $2 monthly charge on your Android. Would you buy it? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, Geekazine is my Twitter handle, and geekazine@gmail.com, www.geekazine.com. It's all there, so you can check it out there. You can also check out the new website. I spent some time putting up a new website. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you don't think over at geekazine.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that is it for Geekazine and Geeksmack for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Over at geekazine.com, there's a contact form. Of course, like I said, geekazine@gmail.com. The hotline number is 608-205-4378. Feel free to give me a call there. All right, that does it for this week. We're going to continue on as best as we can in the upcoming weeks. So I thank everybody for watching this episode. If this is the first time that you've tuned in, thanks a lot for sticking around. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We will be back next week with another Geek Smack. So until then, you guys geek out, geek out, and we will see you next week on Geek Smack. And of course, watch iPad 365 and all the other Geekazine shows over at geekazine.com. You guys take care. See you next week.